Hey, welcome back folks to Max Nave Horsemanship. And today I'm going to elaborate on something that I have talked about a little bit and have touched on. And it's all about desensitizing, and in this case, desensitizing while moving. Well, before we get into that, and I think we're going to be able to actually give you a little demo today, because we got this little girl in here and we've been having some problems with her. And as a result, I think she's going to supply us with what we need. Now, before we get started here, I just want a quick little, well, I'm going to start with an apology, even though I didn't do anything wrong. If you didn't get a notification for one of my videos, I'm sorry, but I have no control over that. That's YouTube doing it. And I know they're really messing with things bad, because I was just going through my videos and went back to one that did years ago. And it's one that has kind of slipped through the cracks somehow for YouTube, and they aren't stopping that one. And it now has 104,000 views. I also have a few others that are in the thousands too. So I know it's possible to have some decent decent views going on. So when you look at the number of views on my videos, completely ignore those numbers. They're not true, they're not accurate, and they're certainly not a representation of my horsemanship. And actually, it was interesting. I thought they'd quit doing it, and I don't know why they're still doing it, because it's kind of a waste of time. But one of my recent videos, I even watched the views going backwards again. And it's not like it's only happened. It's happened quite a few times, and I'm not even sure what it got up to. Last time I saw it was up to close to 40, and the next thing you know, I look at it, it's at 25. So, and it's been there ever since. So. No, actually, I think it went up one more after that, but it tells you when they're going down like that, somebody's messing with stuff. And I know for a fact my subscribers are not getting notified. I've had a few people tell me that. And what I would recommend that you do, because, I mean, you could unsubscribe, resubscribe, and hit the notification bell and all that good stuff, but it might not do any good if YouTube is determined that you're not going to get notified from my channel. What I would recommend is find the channel itself, go to the videos page, and bookmark it. And that way you can once a week go check on it and see if there's anything new, because I do upload videos every week. And that way you won't miss anything. That's the only thing I know of you can do that will guarantee that you are going to get what's there. Other than that, don't leave it up to YouTube. Anyhow, give me a second. I'm going to go get my flag and I'm going to show you something. Now, I'm going to do this a little further away from the camera so that you get a better chance of seeing everything that's going on, because she's going to move. And I want her to stay in frame so that you can see what's happening. Now, this little horse, I mentioned this one, she's the one that has a problem with the saddle. She doesn't like the saddle for some reason. And, well, I kind of concluded it wasn't about the saddle. She was simply reacting, period. And she's reacting to all kinds of things. And one of the things that she reacts to is my flag. Now, every time I come here and grab my flag and start waving her around, she's being pretty good today. You see her head jump up, and now she's moving. I didn't ask her to move, but that's actually not bad. She's improved. We've been at this for a very long time doing this, and she has gotten a tiny bit better. But I got a funny feeling I'm still going to be able to show you what's going on. Now, I've often talked about how horses are more reactive when they're doing multiple things, and how desensitizing to a horse that's standing still, I mean, I can throw the flag on her and drag it over and rub her with it. No reaction at all, right? But that's because she's not moving. She actually acts the same way with the saddle. You can put a saddle on her, and if she's standing there and you leave her alone and she's grazing, she doesn't care if there's a saddle on her. But if you ask her to move, that's a different story. And you have seen that. I showed you her reaction. You didn't get to see all of it. You got to see some of it, but you did get to see a reaction where she actually reared up at one point with a saddle on. And that's kind of what happens. She gets real worried. But it turns out she does that with everything. It wasn't the saddle. And that's why I'm going to show you with a flag, because it's still a similar idea. We're doing something that makes her worried, but when she's standing still, guess what? No problem. She has no reaction to the flag whatsoever. I can wave it around, rub her with it. But watch what happens when I ask her to move. I'm going to say, I'm going to put the flag on her back. I'm just going to lay it there. And I'm just going to leave it there lightly. And I'm going to ask her to move. Well, let's see what happens. Well, so far not bad, actually. But you can see she's getting worried. She's picking up speed. Let's see what happens if I move it a little bit. I didn't ask her to go faster. You see my hand is still right in front of me? See, she's getting worried. And she's pulling out on the lead too. So this is the difference between a horse standing still and a horse that's moving when it comes to desensitizing. Now we're going to ask her to stop again. Good girl. And then I'm just going to rub her with the flag. And again, she's not moving, no reaction, right? Well, I can do I can do just about anything I want. I can wave it around, rub her with it, swing it on her, back and forth, all over. And that makes you think that she's okay. And that's where you can get fooled. I did. And this isn't the first time that's actually happened. This happened more than once. It doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen. I've had it happen more than once. So let's see what happens if I ask her to move and then I move the flag. And she's picking up speed. She's getting nervous. It's not bad though. She's gotten a lot better. But she's trying to stay away from this flag because she doesn't like this. She doesn't trust it. See, she's pulling out. Well, now she's not really picking up the pace here and pulling out. Okay, I think that's enough to make the point. But you see the difference between a horse standing still and a horse that's moving. And when she's standing still, oh, no, she's still worried about it. Okay, that's because I just had her moving. So she's still wary of this thing. But, and that's where you hear about, there's the fight, flight thing that happens with horses. There's actually one more component there that a lot of people don't talk about. It's the freeze. And that's where a horse gets shut down. And you don't want that. You want a horse to always be very aware of its surroundings and, you know, in a state where it can, if it has to, react to things. Otherwise, you're riding a time bomb that eventually will explode. And you don't want that. So there we go. She's mellowing out now. Now I can maybe, let's see what happens. Yep, we can wave it around and rub it on her again. And that's the difference. See, what happens is, okay, I mentioned the fight, flight thing and the freeze. Well, this is the freeze. This is where she figures, okay, if I don't move a muscle, nothing bad happens. And that's what's going in her head right now. Well, maybe not exactly like that, because horses don't think in a language, they think in pictures, but they just equate not moving at all to nothing bad's happening. And so that's what's in her head right now. So if I wave this thing around when she's standing still, she's cool. She's okay. But you notice that when she was moving, she would start picking up the pace quite rapidly. I never asked her to. And that was the flight kicking in. And if I was to actually restrain her too much and get too vigorous with this flag, you'd end up with the fight side of things happening, where you end up getting kicked or bit or something because the horse is having a meltdown. And we do not want her to ever get to that point. There we go. She's moving in. She's getting comfortable with me. I'm holding the flag in front of me intentionally because I want her to realize that, well, to get to me, to the good thing where I rub her and tell her she's a good girl, she has to get closer to this too. And that, oh, guess what? When you get close to me to get the attention, this thing doesn't do anything bad. It doesn't hurt her. Excuse me, I'm going to pick this up again. That can happen too. But as you can see, she didn't go anywhere anyhow. The only reason I'm even using a lead is to keep her within proximity of the flag to show you how she reacts. So regardless of what you're doing with your horse, if it's a tarp, a flag, or even trying the saddle, don't just throw it on and say, hey, yeah, they're good with it, because they might not be. And you might not find out until too late. And I've seen that happen many times before where, people would take a very green horse with not enough groundwork done, and they would actually throw a saddle on and go, oh, okay, the horse is all right with the saddle. Then they hop on and go, oh, horse is all right with me on their back. They're not moving yet. And then they ask the horse to move, and it's very hesitant to move at first. And then when it starts moving, it either bolts off or it starts to bucking. Neither one is good. You don't want that. You want a nice controlled journey where you can steer the horse and control its speed and all that stuff, which is why at this point we have no intention whatsoever of ever getting on this horse. If there's a risk of things not going right, we're not getting on her. And she is actually old enough now for me to get on her. She's just a little over 2 years old, so is the other one. They're both very close to the same age. This one is not very tall, though, because she's a quarter horse, I think. Something like that. And, she's got the stocky build. She's never going to be extremely tall. She was not meant to be. And most quarter horses, true old school quarter horses, aren't very big horses. But she's big enough that I'm pretty sure that she will actually handle my weight when I do get on her. And just talk about that briefly. I mentioned it before. Horses are not fully physically matured until about 6 years of age. So can you get on before then? Yes, you can. Some people think it's okay to start 2-year-olds. I don't agree with that. And my idea of getting on them is I'm going to get on this one, maybe the other one, and the most we're going to do is maybe 2 laps of this round pan, and I'm going to call it a day. In fact, the first couple times I get on, I might not even move. We just might get on and get off again. If they let me get on, that's good enough. Take 2 steps, good enough. We'll call that a ride. You don't have to, go out for 3 miles. You don't have to do that. In fact, that's probably counterproductive to do something like that. A lap, even one lap of the round pan, that's lots. Maybe the next time I'll do 2, and then the next time 3, and we'll do a few figure 8s and just get the gaits and steering all under control and everything before we do eventually go out in the pasture and ride around a little bit where there's a little more room, and then eventually through the yard and down the road. But that'll be a while yet. In fact, taking off down the road with either one of them might not even happen yet this summer. That might not happen until next year, but there's no rush. At that point, they're still only going to be 3 years old. And I'm not worried about it. That doesn't bother me. As far as I'm concerned, if nobody rides them for a while, that's okay. I mean, the other one in particular, there have been days I've been very, very tempted to get on her, but we're not going to. Not yet. Pretty soon, though. That one I'm definitely going to be on her back before the end of this summer. This one, I think, if we make some progress, we're going to be on her back before the end of the summer too, but not for a while, for sure. You've seen how reactive she is to the flag. Well, that means she could be reactive to just about anything, whether it's the saddle strings, the stirrups banging her side, any of that stuff. If she'll react to one thing, she'll react to another. And that's where you can't be fooled and say, well, she's good with this, she only reacts to that. No, well, she could react to anything. If they'll react to one thing, they could react to anything. And you need to be prepared for that. And by being prepared, sometimes that means don't do it. And that's why, since we discovered the problem that she's got, we haven't put a saddle on her. We haven't had a saddle on her since. I've been just working her with the flag, doing similar to what you just saw me do just now, only we do it for a little more length of time. And she has been getting better. And if you think that she was rather reactive today, you haven't seen anything. She's actually significantly improved compared to what she was, because I didn't realize how bad she was with the flag, because, like I said, every time I'd come in here, I'd wave it around. She'd react a little bit at first, and within a matter of seconds, I could rub her all over with it, wave it around her and everything else, and she didn't care. So I thought she was good, until I asked her to move. And that's when things really got weird. And so I'm like, okay, she's definitely reacting to things, A very good thing we didn't even think about trying to get on her with that saddle yet. And so there you go. Desensitize while moving. And this could be done with the tarp. It could be done with your lunge whip, waving it around, cracking it, doing stuff like that, that they get used to that. But if you're going to do stuff, do it while they're moving, because when they're just standing still, there's a very good chance they might not actually react. You know, like I said, I've been fooled before, and this isn't the first time I've seen this. And it's not incredibly common, but it can happen. And so it's a good idea to make sure your horse is actually good with something. Ask it to move when you're doing it. And even if it's just, lay the tarp across its back or something, at which point you might actually want to try and stay fairly close to the horse. You can hold it there. Might not stay on very good. But you get the idea, is a horse not moving could actually be shut down. They could just be freezing, thinking that makes things okay. I want her to learn that these things are okay even if you're moving. Then that way, if somebody's bag or garbage or something blows past us while we're riding, she's not going to get upset about it. Because, that's what this is all about. It's not about the flag. It's about all the things similar to the flag. And I don't know about where you live, but where I live, the plastic grocery bags used to be the bane of existence. They were everywhere and constantly blowing around, and for some reason most horses just hate those things, and they're terrified of them. I don't know why. But you don't see too many of them anymore, but what you do see now is the reusable ones, the environmentally friendly ones that somebody will drop on the ground, forget about, and the next thing you know, the wind catches it, and it's in the next county, or wherever you live. Counties, we got rural municipalities here. Same as a county, same thing. And, if one of those things blows past your horse while you're riding, you don't want the horse having a meltdown while you're on its back, especially when you're not ready for it, and all of a sudden the horse jumps or rears or something, and the next thing you know, you're laying on the ground, you're not hanging on to anything else, and the horse takes off and you're left walking home. So you don't want that stuff to happen. That's why you want to do this stuff. You want to make darn sure that she is ready. So the day that you get on your horse, and this can even be done with horses that have been ridden already. You don't have to, this doesn't have to be an exclusive thing to a green little horse that's never been ridden before. You can do the same thing with a horse that's been ridden lots, because no matter how good the horse is, it can always be better. So, try and make things better if you can. Why not? So, anyhow, I think that's the video for today. And if you notice the angle is a little different on the camera, it's because the sun was a little further over today when I got out here. And so to have good lighting, we decided to put the camera over there. And since there's clouds now, it doesn't really matter where the camera is. The lighting's all about the same. Oh well, doesn't matter. Yeah, have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next one. In the meantime, go play with your pony. Bye now.